Hello folks, welcome back for another Gamescape video. I'm doing something a little different this time. Since last month's announcement about transitioning to PDFs, I've been kind of exploring the options. I haven't been a PDF customer myself, a consumer of PDFs in the past very much. Only kind of books, rule books, stuff like that. I've done PDFs, but those I read on my computer and never print. So this whole deal about producing PDFs, formatting them correctly, and releasing them as a product, this has sort of changed my perspective on that. So it's something I want to get better at, and it's something that I need to understand from your perspective. Now, for those of you who have been PDF customers for years, you've got this stuff down. I'm probably not going to tell you anything new. But for me, this is what I've found in recent weeks, talking to some of my longtime customers who've done PDF, talking to guys at Play.con 2-3 weeks ago. They're in Denver. We had several conversations along these lines. So, what's it look like? So, it used to be, I'll reach up here. It used to be I used these letterhead boxes and this looked okay. And then, if you followed along with the newsletter, the quality of the boxes and the prices and went crazy and all this other stuff. So, it got to a point where, I really began to consider a different way of doing things. And so, that brought me around to PDFs and the fact that I don't have to, wait to release product and wait for the print jobs to complete and do all that communication, so forth. I don't need to rehash all that stuff so much because you've already read it in the newsletter more than likely. So I've been thinking about what my games, can look like, with you doing your own packaging, your own storage containers, that sort of stuff. So what I've got here is a stack of, these are called project cases. And I got these on Amazon. I ordered 4 of them. These are probably not the perfect project cases, but I like them. And the reason I say they're not quite perfect is because these have a couple indentions in them, so they're not just flat smooth for the label to sit on, but still I think it looks pretty good. And they're see-through, so even at other angles, you can kind of tell what you got hold of. And then I've got a label, little label maker that I can then put a spine label on there. So this is Stone Cold Hockey in a permanent, hard shell plastic case, pretty nice. And all of these, since I ordered these as a group, they're all the same dimensions, and you can get them different sizes. I think these are 10 by 12 probably. It's a little bit tight, honestly, but it works. And but I don't keep my dice in here, and I don't keep a bunch of sets in here. So this is really for the core game. And then get to that in a second. There's a season set. Here's some tactics cards, which I've got in the old Ziploc bag, like you probably have. So something else, you can laminate your charts. That's a good way to protect them long term. Another option, which is basically like lamination, is buying these rigid document protectors. And it's like having a laminated sheet, but you have the ability to swap stuff out or to put things together differently. So I use that to my advantage, or to my preference, I should say. So, here's like one of the main charts for Stone Cold Hockey. Here's the puck battle chart. And then I've got them as flip charts, because when you're not looking at these two main charts, you'll be looking generally at either the power play chart, which is here, or the empty net chart, or some of these other secondary charts here, and then the same thing on behind the main action chart. I've got the fight chart and penalties over there. So that's pretty convenient, just to be able to flip those like that, look at it, flip it back, and take up less footprint. But yeah, rigid document protectors or sleeves are really good for the charts. Okay, so that's, and then the rest of the game is in this box. I didn't protect this chart, which is only used on occasion. This is the off-season stuff, and then I've got the rules and so forth. All that stuff, lays nice and flat in this box. Like I said, this particular one's a little tight. You might want to go, maybe another ½ inch bigger, I think. And then you'll want to go thicker also if you want to store some season sets, or if you want to put your dice in here. I opted to do something different, and I'll show you. So that's what Stone Cold looks like in a document case, project case, they call it. Same thing with Dice United, same treatment here. And I've got it in more of these rigid document protectors. And I did everything this way. Here's Grid Zone. I think I got both Grid Zones. No, this is just classic in here. And obviously, if you've got this game, the cards, it's a big fact deck. I think it's about 100 cards in the fact deck, and that won't fit in this case. So, those are all things to consider. And of course, Legends of Boxing, same treatment here. I've got it in those rigid document protectors. Here's an older case. I didn't really buy this for gaming. I think I bought it for something at work like 20 years ago. And but this is just another type of case that you can get. This one's a little thicker, and it is flat, but it also has inserts. So these are transparent plastic sleeves essentially. So instead of sticking the label on there, you can just kind of slide it in, and if you decide to do things differently or put a different game in here, you can do that. But that's how I'm storing my games now. And then up on the shelf, all the spines are labeled, so they look like that. So it's a better presentation in some aspects than the old letterhead boxes were. Now, yesterday I went and did had my first ebooks printed, and I didn't go through my normal print shop to do this. I was thinking, well, what are the ways that customers could do this? And obviously, a lot of you have decent printers, you'll print at home. I decided to go to UPS or like a Staples kind of shop. FedEx shops will do print jobs for you, and I was pretty happy with what they produced. The cardstock is not as thick as what we used to produce through my local print shop. This is 80-pound cardstock versus like 120 that we would use. And these are the season 3 CCL. This is the hockey, the latest hockey releases. CCL season 3, season 4 schedules. So on 80-pound cardstock, I tend to write on these things. I'll mark games off or highlight something and make notes about the scores on them. So I just leave these in cardstock, and I don't mind marking them up. And then for the seasons, I did run these through. I've got just a black and white. That is a Brother, I think it's a Brother brand printer. And it's pretty good. It's high volume. And it, for black and white stuff, it's just fine. Most of the printing labels that, when I've shipped in the past have been done on that printer. So, at any rate, I ran these envelopes. I got these little, these are 9x6 envelopes, and these are actually even a little large for these cards. But I ran the envelopes through that printer, and so I was able to label those season 3 and season 4 of the CCL. That'll be a nice way to keep them long term. And of course, the quality of the cards from UPS was not bad. You know, it's not as vivid or as thick as the you know, the cards we produced, as you would expect. However, the trick, I've been told, and now I understand this to be true, the trick is to laminate these. So we did have an old laminator sitting around the house, which I'd never really used, strangely enough. And so, you know, since these are on 80 pound cardstock, then I decided to laminate them, and then that thickens them up. But not only does it thicken them up, it really makes them pop. The colors, the print becomes much more vivid through the lamination. So that was a pleasant you know, side effect. If I got all the cards here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's all of them. So this is CCL Season 3, which I'm hoping to feature a little bit on the channel here maybe in the coming weeks. I hope to do a couple different hockey projects. If you read the newsletter, you can learn more about that. But yeah, these cards, you know, once they're laminated, they feel about as thick, not quite, about as thick as what we used to produce. And so, you know, the laminator, it wasn't that expensive. We've had it for a while, so I don't remember how much. The print job through our local UPS store was about $1 per page, which, you know, if you're only printing the cards for a season set, that's only $3, right? So, you know, that's only a fraction of what most of you would pay for, you know, half of what you'd pay for shipping anyway. And so, yeah, I'm pretty happy, you know, with these. I think long term, you know, they'll hold up really nice. They look good. I don't have the greatest cutting board. My cutting board is cheap and not very precise, really. And so these were done on the cheap, and I think they look fine. All right, and then I've also got Season 4, which I want to play, but it's going to have to wait. I don't know when we'll get around to that one. Season 3 is going to be fun, too. I just wrote up Season 4 in the past few days, so it's in my mind, and I'm kind of excited about it. The other thing I did, since I couldn't fit, you know, dice and season sets and stuff like that, you can fit some season sets in these project cases. But I decided I was going to store those in boxes or up on a shelf or whatever here. I keep looking up at my shelf because I'm getting used to the idea of having all this stuff out there. Something else you can do if you have a bunch of accessories, you know, for SMP or for Play.com or Com or any of these guys, Replay, Stratomatic, and you got a variety of different things. Well, you can just get a case like this. This is sort of like, I don't know what they call this, what kind of case they call this. It's not a sewing case, but it's similar. It's kind of like for sorting or storing office supply things, you know, paper clips and you know, pencil sharpeners and erasers and that kind of stuff. It's got, this particular one's got trays in it, so you can kind of make it modular and move stuff around. But I put all my SMP accessories all in this one case. And if you ordered dice, especially like polyhedral dice, the kind that I feature in my games, then you might have also seen these little boxes that contain dice sets, polyhedral dice sets. And so, you know, I've done a lot of that over the years. And so I've got numerous of these cases sitting around. And so I went through with my labeler and labeled those. So I've got my hockey dice, SCH. I've got lob dice in a separate case. And, you know, all of them. Dice United 2, Grid Zone, and then I've got some other accessories, you know, like Scott Long made this really cool set of NHL markers. So when I am using the stamina track for Stone Cold Hockey and I'm using an NHL set, I can actually get the team markers and move those up and down the stamina track, and that's a nice little touch. So very cool. I need to use those more. I haven't had the opportunity in the past year or so. What else? So yeah, also in this tray, I've got cards, so you can keep your tactics cards. Here's the hockey tactics cards. Here's Grid Zone Classic fact deck. I've got a couple different versions of it. I've got one that's regular player card style and another that's more a little skinnier profile. I've got some Lob tactics cards which have never been commercially released yet, but and then I even got some Lob fact cards. So if I made these, during a time or for events where maybe someone's trying to sleep, maybe I'm in a hotel room, something like that, and I need to play quietly. Well, I can quietly flip these facts, this fact deck for Lob, and play a game that way without rattling a bunch of dice around. All right, so you get the idea. I'm rambling on about this stuff, but I'm kind of excited. This is a new paradigm for me, and I just wanted to share some things that I've found in just the past few weeks that make using PDFs and for your games a lot easier, a lot more attractive, and even more durable. So there you go. I hope that's helpful to somebody, and we'll get on with some other videos, maybe hockey or boxing here soon.